was raised on the mean streets of Burridge. The south side, the west side, the baddest part of the suburbs. And Burridge, you know, was nothing but a couple of cornfields and the International Harvester Factory and a lot of cornfields. Let me say, I lived on a dead-end street in the dead-end streets of Burridge. Across the street was a cornfield. Did I mention the corn? Well, that's why to this day my body is 90% corn, but I digress. That's a whole different... The point, and I do have one, is that in Burridge, they didn't have schools in Burridge. You know, we had to be bussed up to Hinsdale, to the Hinsdale schools. And Hinsdale's a lot different than Burridge was at the time. Hinsdale was like the old money, upper crusty, cotillion going, you know, high society kind of scene, which is not the scene that I was from. Anyway, we tried to participate as best as we could, and we tried to fit in. And I guess it was junior high, it was every other week, there was a thing called fortnightly, and apparently fortnightly means every other week. It was formal dancing, and it was quite a happening on every other Thursday night, and all the kids would go to the Hinsdale Community House and get dressed up, and there were rules. The girls had to be dressed up in a skirt or a dress, pantyhose, and pearl necklace, and pearl earrings, and white gloves, flats or heels. I wore flats. Anyway, my sisters would do my makeup and hair and get me looking all pretty. Sometimes I'd wear my blue velour V-neck blouse. Anyway, the point, and I do have one, is that you go to this thing and the girls all sit on one side of the room and the boys sit on the other side of the room, and the girls sit there all sweaty and waiting for a boy to ask them to dance. And sometimes I would wait a very long time, even though my sisters had me looking pretty good. Well, this one particular night, after fortnightly, it was wintertime, it was December, and it was afterwards, after fortnightly, when all the kids were standing outside waiting for their parents to pick them up. And I was standing out there waiting for my parents to pick me up. And I was like, please, God, let my dad be the last person to pick me up today, because all the kids are getting picked up in Mercedes and BMWs and Audis and Jaguars and shit. And my dad, well, he worked at the gas station. He owned the gas station, but he would come pick me up in his gas station uniform with his big, tall, unironic trucker cap on that said Amoco, and his pocket protector with a tire pressure gauge inside of it. And he'd come pulling up in this gigantic, jacked up Ford pickup truck with no muffler. Now, don't ask me how my dad worked at the shop. He owned the shop, but we didn't have a muffler, but that thing was embarrassing. It was loud, it was ugly, and I had to climb up in it in my skirt and my panty girdle and get up home in there. So this one particular day, I'm waiting for Dad, and I'm saying, Dad, please be the last. Dear God, if there is a God, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Please let my dad be the last parent to pick up a child today. And I'm waiting, and here comes a Mercedes. Oh, that's not him. Here comes a BMW. That's not him. I'm looking for the truck. Here pulls a long white Cadillac. That's not him. And I look the other way, and I heard a horn honk. And I looked away because I knew that wasn't my dad. And the horn was, again, it was more insistent this time. And I looked up, and I looked inside this long white Cadillac, and inside it was my dad. He was still wearing his Amoco uniform and his trucker cap, but I very excitedly got in the car. There is a God. What? This is better than my dad being last. I'm getting picked up in a big, long, fancy Cadillac in front of everybody. And I get in, Dad, what is this car? What is this miraculous car that you picked me up in today? And he said, oh, it's a customer's car. Yeah, I was in for a brake job, and well, I'm taking it for a test drive. And I said, oh, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense, because he did do that from time to time. I'm gonna describe my dad for you very briefly, just so you get a visual. My dad looked like a cross between Kenny Rogers, Roy Clark, and Benny Hill. Depending on whether or not he had a full beard and mustache. I think he had a beard this particular day. Anyway, he says, we're going home. He says, hey, listen, when we get home, don't say anything to your mom about the car, because she gets really nervous. And that was true. My mom was nervous about it. She had a nervous tick. It was a she cleared her throat every 5 to 7 seconds of my life. And hers, I think. I don't know when she started doing it, but I recognize it like when I get separated from her in the grocery store. I would just listen for. She's over there. She's getting closer. Oh, there she is. Hi, Mom. Anyway, so I knew not to say anything to her when I got home, because we didn't want her to have a fit, you know. So, as I mentioned, it was December and it was Christmas time, and we got home and a really weird thing happened. And my dad said, hey, you know, you guys, I got these presents for you that are under the tree, and we all had an identically shaped present under the tree. And it was really unusual for my dad to buy Christmas presents in advance, because he was the type of guy who would go to the only store that was open on Christmas Eve, Zare, at 11:59 p.m. and buy all of our presents in one fell swoop. So it was unusual that he had pre-purchased these presents and wrapped them and put all our names on them when they were under the tree. And he says, hey, gather around, everybody. You know those weird presents? I want you to open them tonight. And my mom said, Keith, but it's not Christmas. And he said, I know, I'm excited. I just really want to give you guys these presents tonight. Are you sure? Yes, okay. So we sit down, one at a time, we start opening these little rectangular shaped presents and peeling off the tape and the paper. And inside each package was an 8-track tape. Yeah. And I got Donna Summer and Barbra Streisand. Enough is enough, is enough, is enough, is enough. When Barbra Streisand was disco for a minute. You remember that? She had a perm. Yeah. And my mom got Barbra Streisand's greatest hits, and my dad got himself Kenny Rogers' greatest hits, because he not only looked like him, but he also enjoyed his music. And I think there was the Eagles' greatest hits, and there was like maybe the Grease soundtrack, and I don't know what all else, but it was like an awesome album collection on 8-track tape. The only problem was we didn't have an 8-track tape player. And we're like, oh, Dad, thanks for this, but we don't have an 8-track tape player. And he's like, we don't? We're like, no, nice try though. Good try getting the early presents. And he's like, I could swear, don't we have one in our realistic stereo system from Radio Shack? No, Dad, we don't. I'm sorry. Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm dumb. I guess I'll go trade them back in for some albums. But there is one last present. This one's for your mom. Keith! What is this? And he hands her a differently shaped box, still a small rectangular box, but it was a different size, so we knew it wasn't an 8-track tape. And she unwrapped it very carefully, wanting to save the paper. And she opened it up, and inside was a white box. And she took the lid off the box, and inside the box was a white square of cotton. And she lifted up the cotton, and underneath the cotton was a gold set of keys. And she said, "Keith, what is this?" And I said, "Oh my God, I know." And he said, "Be quiet. Everybody go to the front door window and look out the window." And in the driveway was a 1975 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. Yeah. And he said, "Baby, it's for you." And my mom said, "What?" And we all ran out to the car, and guess what was in the dashboard? An 8-track tape player, that's right. He wasn't that dumb after all. And we got our 8-track tapes. The back seat was as big as our living room couch. All 4 children, grown children, got in the back seat. And we drove. Yeah, we drove to Downers Grove. Oh, we kept on driving. We didn't care that the car got 6 miles to the gallon. My dad owned the gas station. Gas was free. And from that day on, my mom sang this song. And it goes like this. When you come home from work after a long hot day, I'm gonna pick you up, take you far away. All you gotta do is just take my hand. I got a big someplace for you to land, 'cause I'm a Cadillac woman, 'cause you love in a V12 style. Oh, might break the bank to fill my tank, honey, but it's guaranteed to make you smile. Check it out. I may be long, but I'm not lean. When I'm rolling, baby, you know I'm always causing a scene. Some girls are sporty, but that's not me. I'm gonna keep you in the lap of luxury, 'cause I'm a Cadillac woman, 'cause you love in a V12 style. Oh, might break the bank to fill my tank, honey, but it's guaranteed to make you smile. And then my mom would pull out a fiddle and play a solo. Come over here, baby, have a look inside. I got a big back seat right here for you to ride. Make you so glad to be in love. Just lay back, baby, and let me drive.